Welcome back to All That Jam, where music has no limits. We are joined today by festival presenter extraordinaire and president at J. Goldberg Events and Entertainment, Ian Glodberg. And we're going to talk a little bit about SolShine Reverie because I'm from Baltimore. I really had to work on that. How you doing, Ian?
I'm doing well, and I think a lot of people have had to work on that. One of the appealing things to me about it was it's not a common word, and I was hoping that it would inspire people to be like, oh, well, what's that, and look into what it is, and then hopefully better understand why it's a part of what we're doing.
Right. All about the marketing. All about the marketing.
Exactly.
So summer camp became huge. I mean, it was just one of the biggest things ever, and I think a lot of people were surprised when last summer it was, hey, we're going to be taking a break from it or ending it. I forget exactly how it was phrased, and then you came back this year with the SolShine. So you want to talk a little bit about the thinking behind the change?
Absolutely, and as you said, I mean, we were really lucky and excited by the progress of what happened with summer camp and the growth and everything that we experienced, and the sentiment behind the change really stemmed from changes that happened within our industry more so than the festival itself, and we were proud and lucky to continue with success of getting people out and having great events, but especially post-pandemic, just the industry itself changed, and it became more of a sorry, one of my partners came through.
I'm sorry.
Wasn't expecting it. No, but it just became a lot more difficult to do what we're doing, and this conversation only becomes more relevant in terms of what I think everyone is seeing this summer with the festivals and the difficulties that people are having, and luckily we saw that coming in certain regards, and as I've said in the multiple other statements, it's really about the costs and the difficulty of producing festivals of these types in today's marketplace. Post-pandemic, things changed dramatically. The biggest factor of which, of course, is the labor pool, and it's difficult to understand how hard it is to get the labor that we need to do an event this big in a small town like Chillicothe, Central Illinois. Even Peoria, which is the bigger city that's there, but I mean, we're still talking under 200,000 people in the city, and trying to staff an event with a 1,000 employees is pretty crazy. And then when you move into the equipment and the providers, and then the providers can't get drivers to bring the equipment, and like all these things, it's just become a real challenge. And all of that coupled with, of course, the increased competitiveness, because there are so many festivals, and the fact that the biggest driver of that competitiveness is this, behemoth of a company that doesn't have to worry about their bottom line on every single event that they do, and are willing to take losses or risks in order to make it more difficult for other festivals to continue, and so it's just that all of those things coming together basically made me realize that it was just too much to try to do the big spread out layout that we had before for summer camp. So I was really trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I make cuts from this? What do I do to bring this down to make it more manageable? But then, of course, a part of that becomes, well, then how do I tell our fans that that's what we're doing, right? And like if you've been coming to summer camp for years and years and years, and now we always had two main stages. Now we're only going to have one, and several things like that. And I felt like it just was what I keep calling negative messaging, to continuously say, oh, don't forget, we're cutting this, we're cutting that. And it dawned on me one night that, the smart thing to do would be to just create something new, so people come without those expectations. They come to see
Blank
what,
page.
and I am excited about the things that we're doing that I think people are going to enjoy and find it to be really cool and different. So let's let them be excited about those differences instead of complaining or having to hear continuously about the cutbacks of certain areas, sorts of things. And so
Right.
and then go ahead.
I was going to say COVID was a gut punch, I guess, to you guys, because it gave Live Nation a lot of juice. Are we allowed to say that name? A lot of juice after coming out of it. And I guess that's what you're saying there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, while all of us were suffering and like trying to figure out how we're going to continue as small independent promoters and businesses, they were getting $500 million from the Saudi Arabian government to continue to fund them for, to compete with us. So, that becomes a really difficult challenge to figure out, like, how do you operate in that world, right? And so there's no doubt that was a part of it. But then, for me, it got to be exciting because it kind of reinvigorated my creativity. It gave me a cleaner palette to start saying, okay, well, what if we do this? What if we do that? And in particularly, I focused in on our SolShine program, which has been our Make a Difference program, where we encourage people to participate in the world in various different ways, and we definitely do our best to present ideas and options. We don't want to preach. We're not trying to tell anybody how you should live your life, but at least give people options of how to think about life or how to think about doing things that are different than the typical mainstream thing that they may run into, And so the SolShine being kind of the heartbeat of that for us, for the festival for many years, it became clear that was where we needed to focus our attention in this new branding. And then the Reverie idea, occurred to me, playing around with all different kinds of names. I like the idea of trying to stay away from calling it a festival, because I do think that the concept of what a festival is changing and is going to continue to evolve. And, look, we were on the forefront of the festival movement. We're one of the longest running festivals in the nation. And we started before Bonnaroo, before the Lollapalooza as it exists in Chicago, before, a lot of these other festivals. And my goal is to kind of try to continue to be on the forefront of that. And I think one of the ways to do so is to look at the festival community that we've built as a whole, and ways that we can activate that community, which isn't necessarily just the standard music festival, the way that it's been done in the past. And when I stumbled across the word Reverie, and it kind of took me a minute, because I was somewhat familiar with it, but I wasn't exactly sure what it meant. So I typed it into Google, and the first thing that came up was, I can't remember the exact wording, but something along the lines of a daydream, but a daydream with meditative purpose, or something like that. It basically saying it's daydreaming, but with the intent of doing something with it, and I really like that. And I felt like, that very much describes what summer camp has been, and in particularly about the SolShine part of it, right? Like that it is, I consider it a sunshine daydream. I haven't seen a whole lot.
I was going to say box of rain. The idea, I was going to say box of rain is what I think of with the meditative and relaxing kind of thing.
Absolutely. But yeah, so it's bringing that in, and of course the Grateful Dead reference was not lost on me. Soul, of course, is sun in Spanish, so SolShine is sunshine, and Reverie is a daydream. So it was kind of bringing that part into it was fun. And but yeah, that's basically the gist of it. And I've been excited by the response. One of the best moments was when we announced the lineup, because of course, prior to the lineup, everyone was just like, well, what is this? What's it going to be? Is it going to be, you know, completely different styles of music? And then we announced the lineup, and, you know, by far the most comments that we got were along the lines of, oh, it's summer camp with a different name. And I was like, yes, exactly. You know, that's the vibe. That's what we're doing. It's just going to be different. And, you know, the experience itself is going to be somewhat different, but the core of who we are and what we've done is exactly the same. And so it's like, you know, we have a lot of the same friends and partners coming back. We have some new faces coming that are very supportive of what we're doing. And so it's all just been about like, okay, you know, let's keep the core of what was the community and the heart of summer camp, but let's launch into a new experience that's a little bit more of a daydream, and, you know, with the idea of making the world a better place. Who knows?
if someone does not cover that Warren Haynes song, I don't know what's going on.
I know. I'm waiting to see who it's going to be, right?
You might even get two of them. A late night one, you know, a late night jam session.
Very likely.
Let's talk a little bit about, you had summer camp, which got huge, like you said. So you're booking all these bands, 2 main stages, side stages, DJ sets. Now you've scaled it down. Can you talk a little bit about of what the thinking went into of, if we're scaling it down, what is the core of what our music is?
Yes. So the one of the parts of being able to do this was, you know, I came to the realization that if we just got the city to work with us to extend the hours some on the main stage, we could still have, you know, I mean, if you look at the top tier of our headlining core, you know, it's basically the same as what it's been in the past years. And so was able to work with the city, get those permissions, and be able to combine all of that onto only one main stage. And then it was a bit of a difficult decision for me in terms of the SolShine stage and the Campfire stage. I felt were both very core to what we are. However, the Campfire won out in this regards because of the communal aspect of it, you know, of having everybody around the campfire and that part of it. And it felt like a really good place for us to you know, center that energy. And so we took
Mm-hmm. We all right?
Yeah,
I think we had a little lag there. That's okay.
Yeah.
It happens. That's why we do this live, so we have fun.
So I was saying that the other really cool thing about the Campfire stage and its history is, you know, a lot of bands started there that have then gone on to become much bigger. Big Gigantic, who's one of our headliners this year, was the first artist to go from that, our smallest stage at the time, up to headlining our main stage. And, you know, but there have been others like the Avett Brothers, and, you know, the Lumineers played on the Campfire stage, you know. And so like there's all these cool videos and all this cool content of things like out there about that. And so I really wanted to continue with that tradition and that history. So we decided to stick with the Campfire stage. So that'll be there in an elevated manner. The production on the Campfire stage this year will be closer to that of what has typically been the SolShine. It's going to be a bigger stage with more production and whatnot.
Combine them a little.
What's that? Yeah, exactly.
Combine them a little there.
And then the Illumination Woods, you know, was just central. We had to keep that. And I love the direction that's continued to grow year after year. And I'm excited for the additional things we're bringing in this year. So it's been a fun journey to figure out how all that would mesh. But I'm excited to see it come off now and get everyone in there to enjoy it.
You want to name drop for us a little bit?
What am I name dropping?
Some of the people. What's on the bill? What are we going to see? That's
the artists. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm certainly excited to have Goose back. You know, they're another one who after Big G, when they did it back in the day, the Campfire was our smallest stage. We then elevated that a little bit because when they played on it, it was literally a trailer with a pop-up tent on it. We then ended up elevating that to become more of a real stage, and our smaller stage became the SolShine tent. And, you know, Goose was the first time they played with us at the festival was in 2019, and they played there. You know, paid them very, very little money because you know, was able to book them very early. But the coolest thing was their set got interrupted by a lightning storm, and so they had to take a break. And during the break, you know, they're just such great guys and such great musicians that they weren't going to just sit around. They picked up acoustic instruments and went down on the ground with the audience and started playing. And that then, you know, it ended up being about a 30-minute break that we had to take to shut everything down and then get it all back up. And at the end of their acoustic set, then they started playing Duck, Duck, Goose with all the crowd there in the SolShine tent. So, you know, love that. And the history that's helped create with us. We've now had the chance, of course, to have them back at the festival last year. Had an amazing time. They all came and hung out for the days before they played and just enjoyed. And so we've developed a really good relationship with them and excited to have them back as a part of the festival this year. Then, of course, Mo and Humphreys McGee, who have been with us since the beginning, are coming back to share the stage. Sound Tribe, one of our, you know, biggest mainstay supporters and of course one of the biggest draws for the festival, are coming back. And then on the electronic side, you know, that is where it's a little bit different in that, you know, Big Gigantic is the only like top tier headliner that has played multiple times at the festival, and the others are all first timers: John Summit, Deadmau5, and Slander. And so, you know, excited to welcome some new faces and into what we're doing. John Summit is from Chicago and used to come to the festival to enjoy it. It was pretty cool when I sent the offer. The agent, who's also a friend of mine, you know, texted me the next day with, "Hey, just got John's response," and he sent it. And it was something like, "Summer camp, love that. That's where I used to go get my wook on," you know. And so I'm excited that he's excited to come back and, you know, actually play the festival. So yeah, I think lots of great names, and then of course a lot of the stalwarts that you know, on the undercard that just make the festival what it is. You know, the Sun Squabbies, the Big Somethings, you know. The Works that have been playing with us forever, and, you know, a lot of really cool stuff. Chicago Farmer and Allie Crowell, who's been a part of the festival, you know, from her cornmeal days then into everything else she's done. So it's been you know, Yonder for many years, and, you know, and her band, everything. So yeah, lots of really fun stuff, and I'm excited about it.
Right. So how about some of the partners? You mentioned that you had some partners. You want to throw out any shout outs there?
Partners in the festival? Oh, yeah, you're talking about. So this is I'm actually, as you noticed when I jumped on, I'm in the storeroom / office of our new beach club that we've opened down in Tulum, called Lemba, which that is a kind of a cool thing that we're doing too. The Thursday pre-party in the Illumination Woods, we're doing a night in Tulum, which is going to be a party basically that we're bringing up some of the DJs from Tulum that are the house resident DJs down here, and going to throw a big Tulum party. And I'm pretty excited about that. But the name, A La Lemba is the Mayan word for illumination or light. And that's what we named our beach club that we have down here on the beach in Tulum now. And the goal is, you know, we just got this up and open, but we're going to start bringing in, you know, more U.S. based artists to hopefully. Tulum just opened an international airport, and, you know, I don't think they're all operational now, but by the end of the year there'll be 17 cities flying daily to Tulum from the U.S. So our goal is going to be creating a kind of partnership between the festival and the beach club, to be bringing the artists that are playing the festival down to be a part of the beach club, and vice versa. And so that's all kicking off with our Thursday night pre-party.
Nice. That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to come to SolShine, it's going to be Memorial Day weekend, which is just a couple weeks from
Yep.
now. But where are we going to find out more information about this?
Well, you can always go to summercampfestival.com. That is one thing that, even with the change in branding, the idea has always been that summer camp is still going to be around. And in this regards, it's presenting this festival. And who knows, there may be a day in which it makes sense to bring a full scale summer camp back, and bring back all of the stages and all the different things that we were doing there. So summercampfestival.com is still up. SolShine Reverie, I believe it's SolShineReverie.com is the other as well. But of course, and then our Insta handles, which is Summer Camp Fest. That's definitely where there's all of the info, and you can get tickets. Our ticket provider is eTix, so you can always go directly there. But the package, to see the packages and everything, it's easier to go to our website and get all the details.
All right, one more for you. Are we getting collab sets again with like Mel and Humphreys?
We are indeed. The Saturday night, that is going to be the pinnacle. That was something we started last year, and it was the one thing that I was 100% from the beginning. We got to keep this going because the set itself was just amazing last year, and we need to create more of that as we do.
Yeah, that was my favorite thing. I was so excited for it. And are you going to be streaming?
No plans at the moment to be doing any live streaming or anything like that. As I was saying, we're kind of re-envisioning the idea of what the festival will be, and there are some I would say digital elements to it that we've been contemplating. Different ways to bring other elements both into the festival, and then, as I was saying, keep activated outside of the festival with our audience. And so may see more of that coming down the line, but for this year, no plans to stream at the moment.
All right. Anything else you want to throw out?
I think that covers it. Just come out and have a good time with us. There's still plenty of time to get your tickets and come and enjoy. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Right.
And you get to be a part from the beginning of a new event.
You go. Ground floor. There you go. Hang out for a sec for us. And everybody watching, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long. We'll see you next time.